Hello, my name is Alexander Candler, and today I will be talking to you about a solution to Canada's carbon emissions limit to help mend global warming. This solution will be based around using small modular reactors to eliminate the use of natural gas and coal plants in our country. I want to begin with my reasoning for my topic. In its current state, my thesis for this project is as follows. With carbon levels rising, Canada needs to find ways to reduce total carbon emissions along with the rest of the world before the opportunity has passed. By eliminating fossil-fueled energy plants and replacing them with small modular reactors, Canada can reduce large amounts of carbon emissions while replacing 10% of the country's annual power. I chose to speak about this topic for a few reasons. The first being that the nuclear reactors I will be talking about are interesting to me. They open up new advancements when speaking on the issue of carbon emission reduction and have a real chance of being part of the solution. As well, this topic focuses on an issue that our whole world is dealing with and can be applied to everywhere, not just Canada, even though Canada is what I will be talking about today. Global warming is affecting everyone's lives and needs to be mended as fast as possible to reduce the risk of permanent world damage. Finally, this topic is modernized and is a new challenger to the issue. With new and reimagined nuclear alternatives, carbon-free energy production can be much more obtainable in certain parts of our country and can be implemented in smaller spaces with a large production value. Let me begin with Canada's fossil emissions issue. The image below is taken from the Government of Canada's website on the Energy and Economy page. The image describes the total amount of petajoules of power produced by all the different forms of energy in the country, with and without uranium being considered, based in 2019. By looking at this image, you can see how much of the country's annual power comes from non-renewable sources, such as coal and natural gas. These forms of energy are the main contributors when comparing carbon emissions to energy produced. By finding ways to replace these different forms of fossil fuel energy production with an atmosphere-friendly alternative, carbon emissions can be greatly decreased and help the world alongside Canada. The second image is showing how much coal energy is generated by provinces. More northern western provinces tend to use more coal than southern provinces such as Ontario and Quebec. But these plants need to be eliminated due to their high carbon emissions that get trapped in our atmosphere. Nuclear, nuclear introduction. Throughout Canada, we have about 24 operating nuclear power plants. There are a few more, but some have just been decommissioned or are still in decision for building. Although some people are uninterested in the idea of nuclear power due to past reactor accidents, it has positive effects that can help the country's energy production. As well, the process of nuclear power production has been refined and is safer in the modern day. The process of power production is called nuclear fission. This works by using heat created from the nuclear materials and boils water surrounding the nuclear material to create steam, which then turns a turbine, which will then create power, which is stored. Eventually, the nuclear material needs to be replaced, so the only waste that comes from nuclear power production is buried in deposits safely to prevent radiation exposure, leaving no carbon emissions being let into our atmosphere. And in the image here shows the inner workings of a nuclear reactor and how it works. Small modular reactors. This is what we've all been waiting for. The reason why these reactors get their name is because they work the same as a traditional nuclear reactor that would be found on a power plant, but they are much smaller in size and are considered modular due to their ability to connect to one another, meaning you can add on a separate reactor if more power generation is required. As seen from the image here, they use the same process of nuclear fission as a regular reactor, but just on a much smaller scale. These small reactors can produce around 3 to 300 megawatts of power per reactor, which is an amazing comparison to a regular reactor, which can produce around 800 megawatts of power. Alongside this large power production, SMRs are very portable and can be installed in parts of the country which traditional power plants may have issues being put in due to large surface areas. This makes them very applicable towards the more northwestern provinces I talked about earlier, which also happen to be the main coal and fossil fuel using areas. By taking serious consideration of using these reactors to our advantage, Canada can reduce total carbon emissions by using these SMRs to replace current non-renewable power plants and create a greener country. Just before I finish my presentation, I just wanted to show a few more examples about these reactors' size. The first image can show us the portability of these reactors and how they can be easily transported for easy installment. And finally, the second image shows us the comparison of an SMR to a regular size reactor. And with those last photos, that brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope I can inform you more on Canada's carbon emissions problem and how the acceptance and use of small modular reactors can be the country's solution to eliminate remaining current fossil fueled power plants. Thank you very much.